Welcome to the ManXchange podcast hosted by Coach Alfonso Short. Join him each week on Saturday mornings as he engages with his guests and they discuss men leading, boys thriving, and communities winning. The conversation is underway.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Alfonso Short, better known as Coach Short, and I welcome you to my podcast, ManXchange. The purpose of my podcast and my aim is to work with young boys and men that we communicate with each other and bridge the gap of what it is to be men in our communities, upstanding men of integrity, honesty, and learning from each other, that we have a better society, a better community, and we have a better man at the end of things. I have a special guest today, a good friend of mine. His name is Mr. Milton Smith, and I'll have him introduce himself to me and give us a few little small nuggets about himself. Hello today, Mr. Milton. How are you doing, sir?
How you doing, Coach Short, man? I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show, man. Like I said, my name is Milton Smith. Married, father of two. I have a son and a daughter. Wife, Faye Smith. We've been together for 30 years. Life has truly been a journey. Retired educator, retired coach, administrator. I've done just about everything in the education field other than being a superintendent or assistant superintendent and emphasis clerk. So
that's great and very expansive of your experience. I want to first of all speak to everyone to let them know that Mr. Milton Smith, I've been knowing him over 20 years, Milt.
Yes, real close.
25 years, maybe. I've been married 27. Yeah, probably about 25 years. And he's a great gentleman, period. When I met him, he treated me as I was his family, and it never changed. With everything he said he does, he's a great impact player in the life of people, not just young people, not just being a coach and a school administrator, school teacher. He's a great guy. And this is why I wanted him on my show. And I really appreciate you. I want to get into some things with you. You say that you are, in being a teacher and coach, what has been some of the greatest things or one or two things that you've done that you're really proud of that you were able to do working with young people as administrator and or as coach?
Some of the greatest things is, when you go to talk to some of these young cats, they look at you like you're fussing, but you consistently fussing, and you fuss from the best person to the last person as far as my players and all. But the most impactful thing is to see when they get grown, and you see them post about their children, you see them post about how they're doing in their life, and then they see you out and they come and hug you, come tell you, Coach, I appreciate everything you told me, because I know when I was young, I would think my people or my older folks in my family were hard on me. But then you get older, you get kids, and the bells start going off. And it's like, that's what they were talking about. And to see the lights go off in some of these kids' head about life. Coach just wasn't tripping. I didn't like what he was saying at the time, but it was real. And to see some of these kids, to see one of my guys, he's a college football coach. And to see some of my guys playing the NFL and knowing you can pick up the phone and call, and my call to them is, how you doing? You were on my mind. Coach, I'm doing good. Family doing good. Yeah, that's all I wanted. I want to hear your voice, make sure you're doing good. And to have some of them call you, hey, Coach, happy Father's Day or happy birthday, or just call to talk. Those are some of the most impactful things, that you see on the backside.
That's wonderful. And I know that's true. And we speak of these young people, but this is the type of relationship, and you know it, and I'm speaking to the audience again, that me and you have had throughout the years. We both have moved different locations from the time we met in Tupelo, Mississippi. And you're a native of Mississippi yourself, and you've kind of travailed and coached sports. And again, as you said, you've been in every position other than superintendent in the school system. And the thing is, it's not really title, it's the function. I know that you function in all those capacities at wherever you were. You're 100% about the business of the business. And that's one thing that I think that as an adult man, I can appreciate, and I know that young people do. You speak that you've been married 30 years and you have 2 kids. You have a daughter and a son. So you have plenty to man exchange, so to say, with us, the audience, and with other men who may become a part of man exchange in the difference. So what have you learned from the young Milt? And I don't get into your age because we both are seasoned, as we can see. From the time when you became married, then you became father, and what are some of the lessons that you have learned, but then you had to go back and reflect on some things that was instilled into you from the men in your life?
For the marriage aspect, my wife's brother-in-law just got married, and we were talking. And I tell all young cats, when you get married, you got to commit to the process. And it's a process being married, because you change as a person every 3 to 7 years. You evolve as a person. Things I was doing at 25, I don't want to do or can't do now. And as far as, hanging out, going different places, and having kids kind of brings you away from a lot of things. And kids can be joyful and how you say it, they add life to you. It's like my son. My son plays some professional baseball. I got a chance to see stuff and do things I probably wouldn't have normally done. Got a chance to go see him play in New York in an All-Star game. And, my daughter, she has her own business, in which, she has a cooking business and a hair business. And which is crazy because I was involved, and I am still involved in Primerica. Well, she would be the one that signs you in when you come to our meetings. And she would see all these people working Primerica, not working a regular 9 to 5. So she developed the entrepreneurial mind that she wanted to be her own boss, which I thought was crazy. And all that came from just seeing me work in another realm of business.
Yes.
And she developed her own business. So all of it's a process, I think. You just got to commit to it. We committed to never get married again unless we marry each other again.
Right.
And, and when you look back on things over 30 years, we've had way, way, way more good time than we had bad time.
Right. And now, speaking of committing to the process, and I know you played sports, you coach sports, and we have to use the sports analogy many times on working, particularly with young men, young boys, to connect something to see where they are. And both me and you understand what it is playing competitive sports at higher levels, is that you get to find the character of a person, whatever the game is. It could be basketball, football, golf, tennis, or whatever. I know that it's a mental thing. And that's what I think where we connected as young men when we met over 25 years ago, is that we did play a sport, golf, that was like kindness, and we gleaned from each other with the different skills that we had at the game. But the skills came from us playing other sports, and also from the mindset of being challenged from coaches and peers and other friends that to become better, you got to work at it. And so you say the commitment. And my question is, as a teacher, coach, but as a teacher academically, what do you see in coaching young men, some of the pros and cons of where they see their future, and not understanding what preparation it takes from the part where they are as a student to go further?
Well, you look at some of the situations some of these kids come from, and you got to look at the fact that some of them had been told that you're good, you're smart, you can succeed. They hadn't been poured into in a positive way, to where they, in their mind, the light comes on. Man, I can be good. I can graduate high school. I can go to college. You got to pour in. You got to see what's in them before they see it. And they got to know you actually looking at them for the person instead of what they can provide for you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes.
You plant that seed and, hey, man, my coach believes in me. And they have some success. It's like, wow. And I'll give you an example. This is going to sound crazy to you. We were getting ready to tee off on one of the holes we playing out on 080, wherever we played out in the country in Tupelo. You told me one day you would never beat me playing me. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. But you turned around and said, you got to play the course.
Right.
And from that day forward, my golf game changed.
Right.
Because I learned I was in competition with you, but I was in competition with myself. Doing better myself will improve everything that I was looking for. Yeah. And the same thing with the kids. You've got to get them to go inward and believe in themselves so it'll come out.
And as men, we have to believe that. And you reflecting on that, I can almost see that time and really wish I wouldn't have told you that, because you start beating me. And we play all the time.
Yeah.
Just joking, but it's about management of your time, for management of your life, for management of whatever it is you're pursuing to do. And what many, and particularly your story with a lot of the young men I know, they understand that you're not just some guy who plays sports, you're academic. And I'm not saying that now because, you went to school and you made good grades. You have studied, you've prepared yourself, and you've extended your study to higher education while coaching them, while teaching them, because you were looking at your future. Hey, I'm not a professional athlete, but I'm pouring into kids who can go to that next level because I've learned something. But also with me in my profession and career, I need to heighten up my education where I can some more. And you did it, and you continue to do it. And that's something that I know as a student athlete myself, that's what kids and young people need to see, that what if the sport doesn't work for you?
Yes.
Or you get tired of doing the sport because you've been doing it all your life, then life hasn't ended. Now it begins on who you are, not who the athlete was or is. Who are you, and what's your purpose, and identifying with that. So through all your experiences, how do you share that part with them? Because I brag on you all the time, and I know you're not going to do that. I brag on you all the time that, my partner Milton is academically a professional, and as an athlete, he's still a great athlete in whatever he does in sport. But you're a greater person and you're a greater professional because of the sports, how you could combine them together to create a better person that then can help someone else identify themselves.
Well, I appreciate it. You gotta when we sit down and talk to these athletes, you gotta tell them that maybe 1% or 2% will make it to the league.
Right.
And playing high school football, I'm gonna do all I can to get you a scholarship if you're worthy of a scholarship. But someone may go to JUCO, that may be the last time. They may go to college and be the last time. Everybody's not going to pro. And let's be real about it. You're one hit away from a wheelchair casket playing football. And I base it on football because, that's where I cut my teeth at.
Yeah.
And you got to let them know that going to college is a hustle. They're going, and it's changed now with the NIL, but if they're going to work you, because going to college and playing athletics in college is a job.
It's a job.
They expect you to do certain things in athletics, and they expect you to keep good grades. So that's 8 to 12 hours that you spend at a job. But understand the hustle. When your eligibility is up, they're up.
They're finished with you.
So understand the hustle. While I'm here, I'm exchange my time and get this paper. And I tell some of my guys are super smart. They graduate in 3 years, 3.5 years, but have eligibility left. I said, understand the hustle. Let's start working on our masters if you want to stay there and play football.
Right.
Oh, coach, I want to coach too. Okay, let's finish our masters in a year and a half. Now let's be a GA and start working on my PhD. So now when I get tired of dealing with all this coaching and staying up all night, when I leave here, I got 1 semester or 2 classes left for a PhD, and it's all paid for.
Right.
Right. Understand the hustle of the game. Now the NIL has changed everything. I go out and we talk to some of these guys on some interviews, and I tell them, y'all getting all this money, but nobody's telling y'all. Form a LLC with 5 of y'all. Everybody put $50,000 in there this year, so now I got $250,000. Let's buy some land. Next year, let's put the infrastructure in. Next year, let's put the houses on. So in 3 years, I've graduated. We've got a whole community together that's paid for. Now we got mailbox money.
Now understanding that, and like you said, a lot of these young men are coming from households where they didn't have a father figure or a male figure of positivity. And then also the mother or whoever the caretakers are, which are normally women, aunt, or somewhat sisters, they're doing their very best. They just trying to get them to school every day, get them through school, hope they graduate, hope that the sports work out. However, maybe not even knowing the integral parts to it. How have you been able to communicate with those for the young men who did have that opportunity to go to another level, in explaining that to their parents or caretakers, particularly now that everything they see now is the NIL, that my kid is good, he's in high school. Not everybody is getting NILs. It's just like making the pros.
Yeah.
But those who do, that the parents have some understanding, whether they get it or not, that you have explained to them from a layman's term that how you got to protect this, because it could go away with one injury, one mistake that tears up the clause of the contract.
Well, sitting there, I talk to kids all the time. I had one of my kids transfer out, and it's one of those deals where old folks used to say all the time, when you go on journeys, everybody's not designed to go with you. And same way with parents, you got to protect your kid, and everybody's not designed to go on this journey. So you kind of got to keep your cards to yourself, but we got to still push forward. We got to have a common goal, and that's to graduate. Or if we get a chance to go to the league, fine. But our main goal is to graduate and get this paper, because the league is not promised. Right. Because you look at Shedeur Sanders, should have been first or second round pick, bumped down to the 5th. And that was stuff he couldn't control. So you got to let him know there's stuff you're not going to be able to control. Control what you can control as far as going to school, taking care of what you got to take care of. And if you get NIL money, put some money back, invest some of that money. Set yourself up so if ball don't work out, you still worked out.
Yeah, and we have to catch that at an earlier stage now, Milt. It's one thing, I mean, you see some of these young men, you see them come from maybe junior high to get to high school, this or that, but I've had an opportunity of working with younger kids, younger boys, that's the ages 8 to 12, 8 to 13, who already, they see themselves as superstars. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's from athletics only.
Yes.
And what you're explaining and the way you talk to the young men who now really just 2 or 3 steps away from at least college, that I try to instill in these young boys that, the education, these fundamentals you got to have, and you got to have good grades in order to stay qualified for sports. Though we know that the system is flawed as it can be, sometimes young men and women alike, but young men do get to play sports because they're good, and there's some leniency, and they get used to that. And they think that that's just the way. I'm not really worried because they're going to give me my grade so that I can play, because I'm scoring points on the court, I'm running touchdowns, I'm hitting home runs. And then when you get to the level of college, yeah, you're there, but everybody is good as you are, if not better. And as you said, the business part of it is that dude that's your teammate, also you playing for the same spot. He may not wish you harm, but he don't mind you getting hurt because he wants his turn.
He's hungry too.
Right. He's hungry too. So we have to learn that when we're talking about my friends or whatever associates we know as as adults, we may have more associates and we have friends, but that's life in itself. But a young person doesn't understand that, and they get caught up in friends. They forget about what their business is.
Yes. Well, it's one of those deals where talking to the young cats, you sit them down and said, if you can't get your grades now and do the small things now, it won't matter because you won't be able to do it at the high school level. You got to get the grades to be able to get on the team.
Yeah.
And you got to hold those grades to stay on the team. I know when I coached, you had to have a minimum 2.5. And I was in a position where I could check grades, and anytime I could check grades from my house. And I always stayed on them about grades and have set kids out because of grades. That's the least you can do. Because in life is not going to be lenient on you.
That's where I was leaning to.
There's
your A, B's, and C's really doesn't matter in the game of life.
No.
You got to be accountable and responsible.
Day in and day out. And the previous place I worked at, I would see kids getting ready to go home, and you would see other kids that didn't have the background at home try to get them in trouble so they wouldn't go home.
Right.
And you have to tell those kids, hey man, stay out the way, do what you're supposed to do so you get your reward. Don't get sucked in by the friend that says he's a friend and y'all always doing something foolish.
Right.
Because when it go down, it's just not going to be Al. It's going to be Al and Milton was together.
Right.
Milton was just sitting in the car. Or Milton was wilding out and Al was just driving. Well, they were together, so both of them go down.
And I'm sure it's been countless times that you had really a totally concerned parent that trouble did occur with their child or children, and they were hoping that you could work a miracle out about the situation or circumstances. And I know you didn't say, oh, I told you so. You said, well, this is the circumstances. We got to deal with it. But that's the best way that we can communicate with the powers to be or negotiate, but really still let it be a teachable moment.
Well, a lot of times you sit down with the kid by itself. Got a young man going through stuff right now. And over the years you have some. You said, well, whatever happened. Well, was it right or wrong? And you asked the kid, it was wrong. So you were wrong. You knew you were wrong. Yes, sir. So the consequences come with that. Yes, sir. And the parent, though, man, well, he knew it. I know he's been taught better. So let's see how we're going to deal with the consequences. It's not the end of the road. Every incident you learn from it and use it as a stepping stone of what not to do, or you can tell other folks what not to do.
That's a lesson in itself. That you got a book right there, Milt.
There's only one dumb question. The only dumb question there is the one you don't ask.
Right.
And my kid, I talked to a coach the other day. He was getting ready for an interview, and we were talking about rules. And I had one rule. When you walk out the door, there was a sign above the door. It said, do right. That was it. You don't think about breathing. You don't think about eating, really. You don't think about blinking. If you got to do something wrong, you got to plan to rob a bank. You got to plan to carjack somebody. If it's wrong, you got to think about it.
Yes.
Right stuff flows naturally. It's easier to do right than it is to do wrong.
And as you said, we have to assure our young boys in particular, because that unfortunately you don't get 3 strikes.
No.
Anymore. It's really you get the 1 strike and a couple of balls, and 2 strikes, you just about count it out. But for them to realize you're not out of the game, you got to change up your process. You got to change up your commitment to what you just said, to doing right. And what is that to you? What are you pursuing that where you want to be at a certain period of time? Then are you doing right the right things to get there. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know how, again, you're not dumb. What is it that you would like to know that will help you? Then also I'm gonna give you, share with you what you need to know, whether you use it or not. It'll be in it. We talked about this a lot of times, what's in the toolbox.
Yes.
So
Had a conversation with a young coach
yeah,
day before yesterday. He called me about an interview. We were talking about 2 coaching jobs. And he was telling me what he's going to wear. And I said, wait a minute. I said, you need to put on a black suit. He said, coach, no, put on a black suit. Let them see you different. Let them see you in a different light when you go in there. Because they called him about an interview at 5 o'clock and interview was that morning.
yeah.
So you know you're already behind the 8 ball. And I said, he said, coach, I want my stuff in color. I said, if it ain't in color, put it in black and white. Just make sure you have it. Go prepare. And he called him back. He's glowing because, you know, he did good on the interview. But, of course, there's obstacles in the way. But for him to call and ask, what do I need to do or how do I need to approach this interview? Hey, this is how you approach this interview. You know, he's going to be a head coach soon. And it may be at this spot because I think he knocked it out the park. But you've got to lead them, especially when they call and ask for guidance. And don't cut the corners.
Right.
My guys will tell you, you may not like what he say, but he probably gonna be kind of black and white. There's a lot of gray area when we talk.
Well, you don't set anyone up to fail. You set them up for the best opportunities to succeed if that's what they want.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing. And that's what so much, brother, you know that our connection is kingdom. It's definitely a brotherhood like no other. The way we spent time together and what we've shared and learned together and continue to do so, even though we don't see each other as much, we don't talk as much, but when we do, it's like we've never been apart from each other. And I know that's how the young men that you coach and you have mentored through academics feel the same way. And I also know that you pursued things when you told me when you were preparing to retire from school and coaching that you were already working into another industry. So you told me, well, I'm in this business, I'm doing this, and you have succeeded in doing well because the tools that you use to help others, you also open yourself up to learn something new from those who were doing the business that you went into. So in closing, if you would like to share, like if you had one good word or message to share with young men or men all together about the process, about definitely being committed, what would it be?
Sit down and write out your goals. And I know it sounds taboo or cliche to say that, but I'm gonna give you a story. In 2007, I think it may have been January 34th. I was sitting at my house, and something came over me. I was thinking about the football season. We got coming up, had a pretty good team. So that one night, I wrote out a game plan from January 6th until December 6th, was the state championship game. Crazy thing I ever done. It's the first time I did it. But something came over and said, write out a plan. And I followed the plan and got my team to buy into the plan. It worked out. We won a state championship. But know what you want. Get with the right people that can help you put your plan together. Because I used to tell my kids all the time, coaching-wise, we're going to win football game, but I've done y'all injustice if I had made you a better man when you leave here. Because football is only a small portion, and athletics is only a small portion of your life. You're not going to play forever, you know. So when it's over, let's enjoy the rest of the time we have.
Yes. I
and
think
not be locked up or in the ground.
That's great words. We have to redeem the time while we have time to do so. That's for sure. And in closing, I'd like for you to share any information, contact information with you for Milton Smith, the coach, Milton Smith, the educator, Milton Smith, the businessman, entrepreneur businessman.
Currently I'm kind of taking care of my wife right now. But she's doing fine. But I'm a licensed financial professional with Primerica Financial Services. I can help you with insurance, investments, working on my mortgage license, but I still do some teaching and coaching occasionally, waiting on superintendent to call me back. I do go back to the school and coach and teach when needed at the school. So I'm still involved. I kind of stay out the way now. I help my daughter. My daughter's in college, so you try to walk her through the pitfalls and stuff in college. And I'm super proud of my son. He's on the coast, and which has helped us out tremendously because now we go to his house once a month and vacation in his house for a couple of days. So, man, life is good. I just tell you, keep your head down and stay out the way, man, and enjoy the ride. Because it's when you're young, you think you live forever. But when you get a little older, you realize this ride is short. So ride till the wheels fall off and enjoy it.
Okay, so what do you have? What's your platform? You have a Facebook or internet?
I have Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
I don't know what else. I know I got Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, well, just share that information. So if anyone wants to reach out, and we're going to also make sure that we stay connected with everyone that's a part of this show.
My Facebook is Milton Smith. I have a little emoji of the black guy with the bald head and the beard, kind of like what you got to have before I had my hair grow out. And my other one's Instagram. What's my name on Instagram? I don't know my name. Instagram, I'm Coach 349770. You can reach me on Instagram, or you can call me or text me, preferably text 601-319-3238. I'm available to talk, or you hit me on Facebook, or however. I'm here to help. Man. We're in a crisis right now. We need all available men to help other men, because we're in a war right now.
Yes, and I appreciate you sharing, because what we're doing, that's what we're building. We're building a army, a community of men who are prepared or who needs to get better equipped so that they can stand the life journey and that they don't waver when things get a little tough, because life can be tough, but also life is very sweet to live. And we want to get the better and understand that some is bitter, but at the end of the day, that we're standing and we're making a better household, better families, better community, better societies. I want to thank you very much, Brother Milton, for participating in this interview with me. And I hope that your wife gets better, that your family continues to blossom and do well. And to all my audience, I'd like to thank you for being joining us today, that you have a great day, a great week, a great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Al.
You're welcome.